Welcome to the Transum Podcast, a monthly roundup of the new features on the transum.org website, providing mathematical puzzles, games, learning activities, and the ever-popular mathematics lesson starter of the day. Here's your host, John Tranter.
Hello, and my very best wishes for another month. I hope you are well, happy, and safe. This is the podcast number 84 for November 2021 and begins, as I always do, with the puzzle of the month. Maureen and Doreen both have some 20p coins and some 50p coins. Can you work out how much more money Maureen has than Doreen from these three clues? Clue number 1. Maureen and Doreen both have the same number of coins. Clue number 2. Maureen has 28 20p coins. And clue number 3. Doreen has 52 20p coins. Okay, well, you can always rewind this podcast a little to hear that again. But while you contemplate the most efficient way of solving that, and the answer will be at the end of this podcast, I will update you with the latest Transum developments. Okay, first of all, the Songkran game has been updated to make it more interactive. It's not a game at all, really, as far as the student's concerned. It's a fascinating situation to investigate, and it will produce a range of outcomes, ranging from students following instructions correctly and accurately, pattern spotting, and modelling with technology to establishing a formula for the general case. But beware that the formula isn't, well, it's slightly on the more difficult side of the spectrum, so that might be saved for only the highest achieving amongst us. Have a look at that, the Songkran game. So the links of all the things I'm talking about here in this podcast are at transum.org/newsletter. 2 new levels have been added to the BIDMAS exercise. Level 3 now requires pupils to drag a pair of brackets into the correct position on a calculation, and level 5 is a challenge to find the missing number in calculations with mixed operations. A new video on measuring angles has been produced, and that goes with the very popular during lockdown measuring angles online exercise. So there's no excuse now for not having a protractor. You can still practice all the skills required for measuring angles with this online exercise. 2 new advanced starters have been devised, and the first asks for the sum of 2 tan values. Tansum, haha, that's the name. See what I did there? Not transum, but tansum. It's an unusual geometry problem because some of the information given is redundant, and it boils down to realizing the connection between the tan ratios of supplementary angles. And no clearer way can you see that than by looking at the tangent graph. Maybe that is one for your Year 11, Year 12 students. Temperature sum. Oh, I missed an opportunity there. I should have called it TEMSUM. Anyway, this new starter encourages students to think about the relationship between the Fahrenheit and the Celsius temperature scales. And because they don't share the same definition of 0, you need to be very careful when doing temperature calculations. So have a look at that advanced starter. All the advanced starters are linked from the main starter of the day page, and again, all the links are in transum.org/newsletter.
You can find Transum Mathematics at www.transum.org.
In response to a request by subscriber Barry, the random recap lesson finisher has been updated, and it's now possible for you to include your own questions, and assuming that you've loaded the page from your class admin dashboard, you can save your questions too. So that's a nice way to finish a lesson as part of the plenary, the random recap application. Are you in London or near London or are planning to visit London? Because if so, you may be interested to know that the prize for the challenge at the bottom of the Roman numeral starter of the day page is still unclaimed. Somewhere in London is a monument with a date in Roman numerals inscribed on its north side, and this date, this number, contains each of the Roman digits. Do you call them digits? Each of the Roman digits once each in order from M down to I. So knowing that, you could figure out what the date is, and then maybe that'll give you a big clue as to where this monument is. The first person to send me a photograph of themselves in front of this inscription will win a nice prize. Last month I told you about the Kim's Game video, which was presented in the form of a poem. Now, I've also written poems or rhyming verses for the 3D trigonometry presentation and the dividing in a ratio presentation. And last week I found myself tweeting in rhyme about the Halloween starter. But none of my efforts are anything as satisfying as the classic Gilbert and Sullivan song, Major General.
I'm very well acquainted too with matters mathematical. I understand equations both the simple and quadratical. About binomial theorem I am teeming with a lot of news. Lot of news. With many cheerful facts about the square of the hypotenuse.
Yeah, that was the maths verse of the Major General song, Gilbert and Sullivan, and I wish I could come up with rhymes such as those. Don't you love it? Anyway, let's get back to Transom. The latest scheme of learning to be added to the curriculum page is for Year 5. Again, thanks to White Rose Mathematics for permission to use their planning, and I hope these pages help you more quickly find relevant Transom resources for what you need to teach. Meanwhile, in the UK, the Department for Education has decided, as a matter of policy and in view of the disruption caused by the pandemic, that it's not necessary for students to memorise formulae for GCSE maths. In light of that policy decision, the Office of Qualifications and Examinations Regulation, that's a bit of a mouthful, has decided to amend the conditions and requirements to require exam boards to provide a formula sheet in the exams. Exam boards will be providing copies for use in teaching and providing clean copies to use in the exam, as you'd expect. Now, despite that, I'm sure everyone would agree that it's still just as important that students know or are very familiar with the formulas and just use this sheet for a final confirmation. A fun way to increase this familiarity is to play the formula pairs game. Links in the newsletter, or you could look it up through the systems on the website. There's the search engine, or you could go through Maths Map, or Go Maths, which is an alphabetical list, or the topics page. Finally, the answer to this month's puzzle. Maureen has £7.20 more than Doreen. Now, the way I worked it out without using algebra for a change, Doreen has 24 more 20p coins than Maureen. So Maureen must have 24 more 50p coins than Doreen if they're both to have the same number of coins in total. So this means that Doreen is £4.80 richer when only considering 20p coins, but Maureen is £12 richer when considering the 50p coins. So subtracting those two values, finding the difference, and you get that answer of £7.20. How did you do it? Did you use algebra or anything even more clever and efficient and elegant as that? Let me know. Okay, that's all for this month. I'll see you with a festive mood in the air for December's podcast in 30 days' time. Bye.
Thank you for downloading and listening to the Transom podcast. You can find the website at www.transom.org, where you're welcome to use all of the activities absolutely free. or jump in with both feet and become a Transom subscriber.